What I want people to know is that we're out here too, just like paramedics, firefighters, police. Like, we're out here every day, 7 days a week.
We try to diffuse conflicts in the area.
His team from the Institute for Nonviolence Chicago builds connections to disrupt violence. He now finds himself part of the COVID-19 fight too.
Some days we passing out masks, some days we passing out gloves, which are opportunities for us to speak to them about the COVID-19.
We have studies that we go through with Northwestern and University of Chicago that prove the work that we're doing on the ground on the front end helps. Our angle is just leveraging relationships, having conversations, and educating people around this idea that, their actions have consequences, right? And people die because of those consequences. And oftentimes, young people, who engage in violent acts aren't thinking about the idea that they could spend the remainder of their life because of bad decisions, and they impact the families after they lose loved ones. So we're educating them around that, having those real conversations, and just pleading to the hearts of those who are involved not to enact violence on one another.
We're going to need everyone in order for this to be effective.
Daryl D. Johnson with the Institute for Nonviolence Chicago led me on a walk through West Garfield Park. He says they also zero in on the victims and their families, encouraging them to keep their cool.
It's a two-headed dragon now. We've educating our people on the COVID-19 and still talking to them about bringing the peace in the community. So we're still boots on the ground. We just keep on continuously educating our team, and then from there we just try to keep social distancing as we're engaging community members and our participants, because there's some conversations that we can't have with high-risk individuals over the phone, so we still got to be at the doorsteps and meeting the guys in the communities on the block.
So when I'm talking to someone, it's about I want you to live vicariously through me. You don't have to go to prison in order to turn your life around. A lot of the work that we're doing, it feels like sometimes putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, and without addressing the root cause of why they have a gun in their hand in the first place, why they're on the street corner selling drugs. If we don't address those components, we're chasing our tail. Over the last 4 years, we've touched more than 400 people just in the community. And we're talking about males and females, 16 to 24 typically, and those who are at risk of either shooting someone or being shot.
The proof of his success can be seen in his staff. About 90% of the employees have either been in prison or are former gang members.
What pulled me into this is having this concern that especially young black males, don't go through that same cycle that me and my peers went through. We done spent all our 20s behind the wall. I would hate for this young group to go through the same thing.
It's not just the police, and I can tell you because of professional relationships with law enforcement, they're grateful that they have organizations like us and communities partnering for peace, which is a bigger initiative.
When I pulled away from some of these shootings, and I knew that it was still hot, volatile, and could be a retaliatory shooting minutes after we leave, it brought me a little more comfort to know that when I pulled away and I looked in the rearview mirror, I seen those guys with the green shirts. I knew they were there trying to do the same thing I'm doing, but a different way.
The next 5 years, I would love for the community impact to be so large that the community itself can impart nonviolence for those who are partaking in violence. That mothers feel comfortable enough going, outside their door to mediate a conflict between two young men, that they know from the block that we get to know each other, and that the Institute is responsible for the training and bringing together of like minds. So for me, it's a community coming together, making Chicago work.